Susan P. Cariaga, the Vice President of Social Entrepreneurship, Technology and Business Institute. Sa lahat po ng nandito ngayon, sa mga kasama ko po sa government service, from the media, the delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. At the outset, please allow me to congratulate the organizers of this first International Conference on Inmates Transformative Education for Successful Reentry, spearheaded by the University of Southern Philippines in partnership with the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology and the Social Entrepreneurship, Technology and Business Institute. We also warmly and happily welcome all the distinguished guests and delegates, attendees of this conference and forum. Welcome to Davao City in Region 11. We hope you will enjoy productively the avenue for learning and exchanging best practices, benchmark programs for the institutionalization of transformative practices for a better Philippines. We would also like to congratulate you for that very laudable program. I understand it's also the first in the entire country, the College Education Behind Bars program launched in 2017 inside the Davao City Jail. I, on behalf of our Regional Director, Police Chief Superintendent Manuel R. Garland, and the entire PRO 11 family, whom I am representing today, will share to you the Philippine National Police in Region 11 as one of the members of the pillars of the criminal justice system. The pillars of the criminal justice system are as follows: the law enforcement, prosecution, courts, correction, and the community. The PNP belongs to the law enforcement pillar, together with other law enforcement agencies such as the NBI, the PIDEA, among others. The PNP's role in the prosecution of cases in the Philippine criminal justice system are as follows: the law enforcement process. The police officers are mandated to investigate crimes, collect evidence for use in the prosecution of the suspects in court, arrest suspects by virtue of a warrant of arrest issued by a judge on the basis of evidence submitted by them or under circumstances justifying a warrantless arrest. Excuse me. An offender has the following constitutional rights, among others. He must be informed of his right to remain silent and to have a competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. If the person cannot afford the services of a counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence, again, of a counsel. No torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. Any confession or admission obtained in violation of the foregoing shall be inadmissible as evidence against him. Refer the case of the suspects to the office of the public prosecutor or municipal trial court for preliminary investigation, or directly to the municipal trial court for trial and judgment. While on our custody, we observe the proper protocol as mandated by law, specifically provisions under Republic Act 7438, an act defining the rights of a person arrested, detained, or under investigation, as well as the duties of the arresting officers detaining and investigating officers, and penalty provided thereof. These are some observed practices and programs for the detained person under our custody in the police station as prescribed by law under Article 125. It's titled, Delay in the Delivery of Detained Persons to the Proper Judicial Authorities. The penalties provided in the next preceding article shall be imposed upon the public officer or employee who shall detain any person for some legal ground and shall fail to deliver such person to the proper judicial authorities within the period of 12 hours for crimes or offenses punishable by light penalties or their equivalent, 18 hours for crimes or offenses punishable by correctional penalties or their equivalent, and 36 hours for crimes or offenses punishable by afflicting or capital penalties or their equivalent. Just to give you a brief backgrounder, yung aming pong custodial facilities are considered temporary custodial facilities. In effect, when we arrest somebody, we temporarily hold him in custody for a period so stated until such time that we deliver them to the proper judicial authorities. Most often than not, these persons in custody, or what we refer to them as detainees, because we avoid using the term right now, we consider them persons in custody, are temporary in nature because once they were able to post bail, we will set them free. However, if the offense is not bailable, we immediately seek commitment orders for them to be transferred to the Bureau of Jail and Management Penology. Nonetheless, we can only provide, but not limited, to the following activities such as separate detention facility for both male and female, as well as holding room for minor offenders, conduct of regular physical exercises, spiritual counseling, coordination with public attorney's office for their legal assistance, conduct of medical examination before custody and during release or transfer to other custodial facility. Some of the gaps and problems encountered by the PNP while under custodial detention. One is overcrowding of detention facility, non-provision of budget for food for those temporarily detained, delay on the issuances of commitment order. The overcrowding detention facility in a highly urbanized place, such as Davao City, would average to 51 for male and 8 for female, in a facility which is designed for only a maximum of 10 persons. During inspections, we found out that in a custodial facility, there are sometimes 70 males and 61 females, or a total of 131 persons held in custody. Our Regional Human Rights Action Officer conducts monthly random inspection to all provincial police offices and our lone city police office. The delay in the issuance of commitment order from the court, perhaps due to club cases, would extend the period of days of detention. These would also demand more funds needed for the provision of their food. However, even though the PNP has experienced these problems and gaps in the performance of our duties, we are trying our best to perform our mandate and in accordance with the standards of policy and human rights. In our assessment, the crime volume has rapidly decreased due to the intensified campaign against illegal drugs in the past year compared to the previous year. Kanina po, narinig ko yung mga tanong nyo regarding Tokhang. Hopefully, I can somehow clarify some of your questions. We've noticed how the people help and the police by reporting the personalities in their community who are suspiciously into illegal drugs. And the community are no longer afraid to cooperate and be part of the campaign. The present program trust of the President in the fight against illegal drugs has brought the PNP into the limelight, being the front runner of the campaign. We faced the various challenges in our fight, and at one time, we also failed, and we admit it. The trusts were withdrawn from us and returned back to PIDEA. However, when it was finally given back to us, we have been conscious in the conduct of our drug operations and in the conduct of Tokhang or Tok Hangyo, or in English, it's snap and clean. Performing the Tokhang are now the PNP Tokhangers, composed of various members from the community sector, and it is based on human rights policy and stakeholders components. And it is also during this time that we encourage the participation of media practitioners, the barangay officials, wherein as a form of transparency, you can really see how we conduct Tokhang nowadays. At present, a total of 78,112 Tokhang activities were conducted. As a result of the said program, we were surprised by the surge of reformists who surrendered in the PNP. A total of more than 66,029 voluntarily surrendered who are using and are involved in illegal drugs. The PNP Region 11 has facilitated the initial phase of solving the problem of the surrenderies by calling all our partner agencies and other stakeholders, which agreed to come up with their own respective community-based rehabilitation, treatment, and aftercare program. And now the reformists are being catered by the various LGUs through their respective provincial anti-illegal drug abuse council, supporting the Barangay Anti-Illegal Drug Abuse Council program of the community-based rehabilitation, treatment, and aftercare program with the active support and coordination among the concerned agencies and other stakeholders as service providers. In Davao City, community-based CBRP is called Tarana, Tabangang Reformist Aron Naay Asenso. The USEP, University of Southern Philippines and Archdiocese of Davao Sagop Kinabuhi Program, Part 2, UIC Katuyog, and other sectors adopting the program. Davao del Norte is called AGR Sabo, Aksyon, Gamutan, at Rehabilitasyon, Sumurender ay Baguhin, Operasyon Gabayan. Compostela Valley Provincial Province is called Oplan Liwanag, a community-based transformative intervention surrenderers program. Davao Occidental AUDING, Aksyon Undang Droga, Igsoon Nagtibangay sa Gugma, Community Rehabilitation Network. Davao del Sur, mapalad mga aktibong alagad laban sa droga. And Davao Oriental has several titles or names from various municipalities. The reformees underwent several phases of the program, process after profiling and assessment of their addiction state, either low, mild, risk, moderate, or severe. Then the general interventions follow. Either in the community, outpatient, or center-based program will be provided for the reformees. Several program components such as medical, psychological, physical, spiritual, and values, education, life skills, and others. After the intensive 3 to 6 months of the program, the aftercare program will be provided, then followed by the continuum preventive health care. The PNP was directed to strengthen the Barangay Drug Abuse Council. The PNP's Oplan Tokhang version 2, region-wide. Your police are enjoined to closely work with their respective barangays for the activation and strengthening of BADA to become effective partners in anti-illegal drugs campaign. It promotes goodwill, sense of responsibility of the community, and the return of trust and confidence of the people to the police. Before I end, let me share to you a quote from our former Chief PNP. We cannot turn our back on this fight because the future of the succeeding generations depend on how well we fight the war on drugs today. The fight for illegal drugs is a fight for humanity. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa inyo lahat.
Thank you so much, Police Chief Superintendent Joel Fabio Ordonia. Yeah, Sir Ordonia mentioned something about Tokhang, about former General Bato. So who likes to ask questions? Questions from the floor? Is there anything that you would like to be clarified? Or is there something that you like to ask our speaker? I do not, let's not be afraid. No, sir is a man in uniform. He has his special guard. Yeah, okay, Ms. Galicia.
Good afternoon, sir. The figures you have presented earlier, may I ask from what month and what year and up to what point those 66,000 and 77,000 number of people were involved in Tokhang?
But that figure was a result when the Tokhang operation was given back to us. So sometime in November?
July 1, sir, 2016.
No, I mean, nung nabalik sa atin.
December 5. December 5, sir. December 5, 2017, sir.
Up to May, April.
Today, ma'am. After today. Probably, ano na to, baka meron pong sumurrender ngayong araw na to. Kahapon, ma'am.
So can I coordinate with your office to get the exact number?
Please, ma'am. Please.
Sir, you might be wondering why Ms. Galicia is asking for the exact number of those individuals. Okay, she is from USEPO working on the voluntary reformists, those who are giving trainings to those who have surrendered. Okay, another question. We can have one more question from the floor. Yes, Dr. Baz. Sir, are you ready to answer the question of Dr. Baz? Okay.
It's not that complicated. I'm just wondering if you could point to any examples in the world of a war on drugs that was successful, that is a model.
You're asking for a model
Of a successful war on drugs is one.
okay, that they have based their operations?
Or just one
Okay. So the question sir is about a successful model on such.
Probably, ma'am, the model the world is using right now is the Oakland Tokan. Probably it's the other way around, ma'am. Maybe they are copying from us right now.
Yes, Dr. Buzz, there's no other way, but it's really the tok-tok hangyo. It's like knocking and please stop. It's just like that. Okay, our speaker would like to expound.
Actually, ma'am, there is really a misconception about the real campaign plan of the PNP is not Oakland Tokan. It is Oakland Double Barrel. Oakland Tokan is only one part of the campaign. It is when the police officers try to persuade our drug users to reform. But under the upper barrel is the lower barrel, wherein we target high-value targets. These are now the drug lords, the drug pushers, those street peddlers. So the entire campaign is not only asking them to surrender. It is not really surrender. It is to reform. We ask them to reform. What we want to surrender are those people involved in the selling and peddling of drugs, particularly the drug lords. But obviously they will not. So that comes in the lower barrel of the campaign plan, lower barrel. Thank you.
Yes, the double barrel, Dr. Buzz. That was the operation before. No, it is still. But the Tokhang is more popular. Like all people in the Philippines know that, especially those who are afraid of Tokhang. We're not afraid of Tokhang. Yes, people here are not afraid of Tokhang. Okay, so like, yeah, and I think I would like to just to give like an input on the model. I guess because the model is applied or depends on the context, and Tokhang works better here in the Philippines compared to other model. I guess, sir, that's correct. Okay. Well, I am not really in the position or the authority to talk more about that. Yes, Dr. Allen. I'm afraid Dr. Allen will say no to my comment.
So my question about seller and pusher. We know the user right now because of the figure and it's on public, right? But what percentage of the seller and the pusher that you have? Like, basically I'm talking about the big fish. Have you catch or do you have a figure of the big fish? What percentage of those big fish are under your custody or you have a list? Those are the problem because those are the one actually bringing the make money, right?
Are the big fish still alive?
Actually, sir, I do not have with me the statistics, but definitely we do have arrested high-value targets, and sometimes, unfortunately, we do neutralize them. But right now, in the Bureau of Corrections, where the former Chief PNP is very busy right now, there are a lot of high-value targets presently detained there, sir. So the percentage, sir, I cannot answer right now, but definitely there is, sir. Maybe when I return to my office, I'll give you an update, sir.
Thank you.
So you have two assignments, sir. One for Ms. Galicia for the update, for the data, and then you also have an assignment regarding the question of Dr. Allen. But that was actually very interesting, especially that we might not really be involved with that, but we are aware of this topic. Okay, do we have one more? If there's none? Okay, thank you so much. That was interesting, Sir Ordonia. Can we give Sir Ordonia a round of applause, please? Sometimes we have to use, figure of speech. So we have to use the big fish and the small fish, the high target value and the not so high. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Of course, our very purpose here is to have this. I like the term person in custody unless they are convicted. So that's actually I don't know. Instead of saying that they are in prison or detainees. Okay, so thank you so much. At this point, sir, please receive the certificate of recognition. It's Dr. Please receive the certificate of recognition for delivering an insightful talk, for representing the Philippine National Police Regional Office 11 in the first international conference on inmates transformative education for successful re-entry held on May 16, 17, 2018 at the Social Hall, given the 17th day of May 2018 in Davao City, 8,000 Philippines, signed by Dr. Lourdes Generalao, President of USAP, and Dr. Alan David Meisel, President of CENPI. May I request Dr. Alan Meisel and Dr. Generalao to award the certificate of recognition to Police Chief Superintendent Joel Sabio Ordonia.